My name's David Sidwick, and I'm here to talk about crime in Dorset. I've spent 3 years preparing, and I'm standing to be your local police and crime commissioner. And today I am very honoured to have the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, here to answer some of your questions. So the first question I have is from Charlie. So Charlie is concerned about the level of antisocial behaviour and drug dealing that is occurring in Dorset. What are you doing nationally, and how will this support local efforts on these two issues?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to answer these local questions, really important issues today. And of course, drug dealing is a scourge across society. It really is. But we have some incredible work that's taking place to deal with drug supply and also rolling up county line drug gangs. So over the last year alone, through the resources that I'm putting into policing and specifically to roll up county line drug gangs, we have closed down hundreds, over 600 drug lines across the country, and we have safeguarded thousands of people who basically are being preyed upon as vulnerable individuals, and including children, by these notorious and awful gangs. So we have big policing operations taking place across the country. And of course, that benefits local police forces because this is a joint effort. So drug lines from Liverpool could end up easily in your community. And it is literally by working with the National Crime Agency, with some of our big police forces, that we've been able to shut down these lines, go after the criminals and safeguard some of the people that have been caught up in this awful, awful web. But it's important that we safeguard people while going after the criminals.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really good to hear. So my next one is a completely different subject. Mark is concerned about rural crime and the lack of visible policing. So how will you support what we do here in Dorset to address rural crime?
Well, rural crime is a significant issue across all our communities, and obviously in beautiful Dorset, poverty is a really, really big theme. First of all, I need a Conservative Police and Crime Commissioner to work with to drive the right kind of outcomes and local policing priorities, which is why I urge everyone to back you, Dave, support you and vote for you, because, you know, my national agenda becomes your local agenda, and that means the money that I put into policing materialises into the areas of the policing priorities that matter to your citizens, to your communities and to your electorate. But there is some really good and positive news on rural crime. So I've got to say, across the country, where we have some brilliant Conservative police and crime commissioners representing rural parts of the country, we're seeing the great initiatives back out there again. So more rural police squads out there, you know, patrolling rural communities and coastal communities as well, I should add, to stop the criminals exploiting, you know, vast areas of land, basically farmland, hair coursing, dealing with the problems that go there, but also stopping machinery theft and actually resourcing officers and giving them the equipment that they need to go after many of the criminals, because they use specific tactics and techniques, ranging from theft of vehicles, catalytic converter theft, you name it, basically. Some of this will be familiar to you, but also giving the police the powers, which we are also doing through the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill that the Labour Party voted against in Parliament about a month ago. So we've got a lot of really, really strong work taking place here. And I've got to say, this is one area where Conservative police and crime commissioners around the country are incredibly successful, Dave. So I look forward to driving this agenda with you.
Well, I've got a plan, as you know, called Country Watch, and a successful result on May the 6th, and we'll start doing it.
Great. We're keen to get going.
So the last one is something that, you know, my email has just exploded over the last month or so about. And the question comes from a lady called Angela. And like many residents, she's concerned about pet theft. She and her friends have had, they believe, a few near misses. And I know we've discussed this before, and I've campaigned on it strongly. So where are we with both new policing initiatives and also with tougher sentences? Because people don't get, and quite rightly they don't get, that a lawnmower and a cockapoo count the same.
Completely. And this has been the subject of extensive work in government. So obviously from a law enforcement side, the police have a role to play. From a sentencing side, that's the Ministry of Justice. And actually on the animal side, that sits with DEFRA. So 3 Secretaries of State have come together. We have now commissioned a task force to look at the practical things that we can do to safeguard pets first and foremost. But secondly, we want to go after the criminals. I'm unapologetic about that. You know, if you're a criminal out there peddling drugs, going after pets, or causing any harm across society and our communities, we will go after you. And that is why we are resourcing the police in the way in which we are. And also through the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill, which is a really important bill. It's not just Home Office, it's also MOJ. Tougher sentences, absolutely in that bill. They are coming. And the Labour Party voted against that, but also support for the police and new police powers. You know, we need to update various police powers, and we're doing that through this bill as well. So there is a lot of work taking place here. There is nothing more offensive than what we are seeing right now with pet theft. Pets are members of families and households and are loved with great affection. And it is devastating in terms of what we are seeing with pet theft. The other point to make on this, we are now seeing unprecedented levels of violence associated by the perpetrators who are trying to steal pets. Those individuals will go down for that violence. And that is why, you know, I would urge everyone to vote for you and back you, Dave, to make sure that we can absolutely drive this agenda forward. I am so determined when it comes to law and order, but also tougher sentencing. We're the only party that can deliver on this. The Labour Party, you know, make it up as they go along, but fundamentally they've voted against this fundamental piece of legislation. They don't back the police. They certainly spend more time talking about defunding the police rather than backing the police. We are there at the outset, absolutely doing everything that we possibly can to make sure that we protect our communities, our citizens, but also our pets.
Thank you, Home Secretary. As you've said, it is about teamwork and we need to get this done. Thank you for taking the time to answer the questions so fully.
Great to support you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
No, thank you.